All right, calling this meeting to order at 7:04. Is anybody recording? LakeCAM? Nobody else? All right, we're going to start off with the approval of the November 6, 2019 minutes. Everybody has a copy in front of them. Saw a couple misspellings. It's not Nancy Yates. It is Yates, but it's spelled Y-E-A-T-E-S.
I think Bob Bellucci is spelled wrong also.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, it's P-O.
P-O-I?
Yeah.
P-O-I, like boy.
Right. P-O-I. Is it one L or two, you know? P-O-I.
P-O-I, it's P-O-I,
Two?
but then L-U.
Two L's?
Two L's.
Two L's.
I just, at the Route 18 park, it says
Right.
turtle habitat needs to be mowed early and then left alone to protest the turtles.
Protect.
Oh, that's what it is. Probably supposed to say protect.
Also, the first two sentences were for the Route 18 park, but the second half of that of the paragraph was actually John Hahn Park.
I was kind of wondering, okay. Then one more of those is the master plan update. Joe Chamberlain is Conversation Commission?
Conservation.
Oh, yeah.
Conservation.
I remember that one, yes.
Yeah, it was close,
Yes, 'cause
definitely.
that's the one I think Joe thought that I think Joe would think was really funny.
Mine.
Bellucci's two L's and two C's.
Thank you.
Island Terrace.
Can I make a motion that we accept the
Whoa,
minutes?
whoa, whoa, not quite yet, got one more. It says Island Terrace Properties, she sent a letter, I guess it's supposed to be drafted. I'm not so sure, I think you could just drop that word. A letter went to the planning board. Asking for protection of the shoreline as essentially what it did, so. I guess I read a draft of a letter to the planning board, so. But you guys voted to send it, and that ought to be in here. I thought you voted to send it. Wasn't that a vote? Does anybody remember?
I don't remember. I would have to catch the video.
All I know is
I think
sent
it was, yeah.
It did go. Oh, so you don't have a copy of this to make notes on? Okay. Let's see where it is. Is this one, she read a draft of a letter to the planning board. It was agreed to send the letter. And we don't seem to be able to remember.
Yeah, that sounds, it rings a bell. I mean, I don't have the minutes from that particular meeting, but it rings a bell.
Yeah, I think we did vote for
Yeah, I'm
that.
pretty sure. And you sent it too, Mike, right? And you sent it.
She
I
read
did
it?
send it,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
Yep.
So my letter, I guess, ought to be part of the record. I don't think I've sent them back.
Do we have anyone recording this meeting? I mean, taking notes on this meeting?
I'm working on it.
Oh, yeah? Perfect. You're way ahead of me. All right,
Do you have a copy of the agenda?
Are we supposed to?
might be, I think I printed
I'll move
7.
myself around so
1,
we
2,
can share this one.
Do we have a motion to accept these?
Yeah, I make a motion to accept it as amended.
All right.
Second.
Second? Any discussion? No further discussion? Vote in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Vote in favor then?
Aye. 'Cause I can
All right, everybody that was here that time can vote yes, so that's,
Oh,
Let's see, the committee,
anybody opposed? Nothing heard? Unanimous in favor.
do these things need to be fixed now? Do they need to be fixed?
No introductions this time.
I can't read what I wrote.
All right, first thing of old business is to discuss the new open space plan work group meeting. The first meeting will be next Wednesday, the 15th, 6:30 PM at the police station in the,
Community room.
right, the Rita Garber,
yeah, that's what it
community room, yes.
What time?
6:30 PM, we've got the room for a couple hours.
Okay.
It's not a public meeting, it's just a work group for us and anybody who would like to help assist with the open space plan. So, this being the first meeting, I guess we would want to, do you still have the copy of the one from the library?
No, I've returned it.
You returned it? All right. I'll try to run in there on Saturday morning and see if I can check that one out. And I'll bring that. I don't know if we have Wi-Fi access in there. I'll have to find out.
Oh, I was,
We do?
I was gonna say that one's supposed to have everything.
Yeah, I haven't ever brought a computer in there, so I'm hearing
Probably
from.
has a telephone to God.
Ask the dispatcher.
For the password?
Get the password from the dispatcher. Okay, so anyone wants to bring in their laptop, we'll get some Wi-Fi and we can just start brainstorming on how to get started on
So maybe that's when I ought to bring my,
the notes that you gave me.
Yeah.
Is this the only copy you've got? You
no,
got
that's actually 7 copies of my notes.
Oh, 7 copies. Oh, okay.
So
I
if you
can
want me to take that and bring it next time, I will.
give everybody, I'll find it in, it's one of these, I put it in there. I think this might be it. No, it's not it. It's in my folder. So yeah, we can get started on that finally next week.
Just so you know, I can't do it. I'm in tax season.
Oh, a taxi. No
There's 5
problem.
hours a week now next week, so
No problem.
I would love to.
Understood. You can't expect much.
be
Anything
exhausted.
other than
I'll
taxes
be
for you right
brain
now. Yeah. I hear it. Discussion from the liaisons. Park Commission, I'll start with that. We don't have anything new related to fields right now, not since the last time we talked in December. Nothing new going on with the field because of the weather this time of year, so. Patrick Marshall sent me an email for his master plan implementation committee. The master plan is nearing completion. Rough draft will be introduced to the public on Saturday, January 11th from 10 to 12 noon, 10 a.m. to noon at Assawamsett Elementary School. This is the last public workshop, all caps on that, last public workshop. He encourages everyone from open space and the town to attend this workshop and help shape the future of our community. After this, a final copy will be done up and presented for approval. Saturday, this Saturday, the 11th, from 10 to noon, Assawamsett Elementary School. They got a Facebook event set up. You can click interested or going. I'm gonna be there Saturday, so.
I have migraines. I don't think a 6-year-old is appropriate.
And it's what time again?
10 to noon. Brian, anything anything new from the Historical Commission, Historical Society?
Well, the Historical Commission holds regular meetings on the third Wednesday of each month. And we certainly would invite the public to come and if they have any ideas, suggestions, information about the town's history, we would invite anybody to come and talk to us. We're always trying to promote the Lakeville's town history.
When? I mean, where and what time?
The next meeting will be at the Senior Center on next Wednesday at 7.
Wednesday.
Oh, so that's the 15th then. Next Wednesday's the 15th, yeah. So we'll have a conflict with that one.
Well, there's always conflicts between different things, so,
Yeah.
you know.
This time, maybe next month we won't be doing Wednesdays. The Wednesday for our work group meeting is not in stone, it'll always be a Wednesday, it was just, this time it was available.
I would think the important meeting would be on Saturday, is it 10 o'clock at the school?
That's right. Master
We'll
plan.
really learn a lot.
Mike, anything new from APC?
Oh, yes, yes, indeed. All right, there have actually been 2 meetings. As it turns out, there was a bit of a mix-up with meetings because I had an email about a meeting. It was going to be the public meeting, the year-end thing, and it was going to be on the 31st of December. That was a mistake. I don't know how that came out. The meeting that was the public meeting was the 11th of December. But so that was their public meeting. Their intent is to do an annual public meeting, and the rest of their meetings are considered working meetings. They meet 4 times a year. However, they are really ramping up on something else. They are now involved in a new initiative that is sort of spearheaded by Bill Napolitano of Serpent. Spearheaded maybe is the wrong word, but he's kind of like the coordinator of it right now. It is funded through some money that the state set aside for dealing with some of the issues that people were concerned about with the flooding from the Assawamsett Complex watershed. And the plan is to there have been many studies that have been done. There have been initiatives set forth, but the problem has never really been addressed. So now the plan is to try to go back, review the studies that have been done, bring them up to date. And between now and June, there is to be, they hope to have that all worked out, done additional research, and come up with some viable actions that are feasible and can be funded. They're involving all the stakeholders in the area, all the towns that abut the Assawamsett Pond complex, and all the different boards that are active, and including us. Any of you who would like to be involved, then they would more than welcome you. I've been there as their representative, as your representative. Conservation Commission, but also the conservation commissions in all the other towns, Middleborough, Rochester, and Freetown as well. And a number of nonprofits, Manomet, Audubon, Nature Conservancy are involved, and also Horsley Witten, because they have all done studies that pertain to the problems of the watershed. And they seem to be really hot to go. They're going to meet on a monthly basis. They usually meet quarterly, but they're going to have working meetings on a monthly basis. And I probably have the schedule here for the next meeting. These are working meetings, and I'm not quite sure just how they're going to go. But anyway, the next one is February 12th. And they are always at the police station. They start at 9. This morning's meeting went to 10:30. I don't know how long the meetings in the future will go. But it's a pretty high-powered group that they're going to have working on this. They also have fisheries and wildlife involved, and DEP. And so it's a going group, and there was a lot of enthusiasm about doing things. What the idea is to come up mostly with nature-based solutions. I mean, you can't take the water out of the watershed by pumping it someplace. You just can't do that. And you can't dig a channel in the river all the way to the ocean. You can't do that either. But I mean, some of the things that they may decide to do, we don't know just which of these things are going to be the most plausible and the most feasible. They'll certainly clean out culverts, because there apparently isn't a discrepancy between how Long Pond is draining as to how Assawamsett Pond is draining. And the culvert appears to be clogged with both debris and invasive species. But they also talked about the potential that maybe we'll be looking at wetland restoration and also maybe some bylaws that would affect land use. I mean, those are just some of the things that were mentioned, but nothing has been suggested at this point. It was just tossing ideas around at this time. February, things could hopefully will start getting a bit more specific as to what people are going to start actually doing in terms of research.
I know there's a lot of urgency on it right now because the high water levels, it was brought up at the selectmen meeting.
Well, they're not going to be able to do anything between now and spring.
I'm wondering if maybe that's why they switched from going quarterly to monthly, possibly, just because.
Oh, they did that because the grant has a 6 months limit. So they have to.
They have to.
Yeah,
to get.
this grant runs through June, and they have to be. It has to be definitive by that time.
To maximize the grants is why they're doing it. All right. Okay, next in old business is to discuss any updates on properties currently of interest to the Open Space Committee. Lakeville Hospital, we've seen a lot of work being done for the funeral home. Haven't heard any new sales. Still have, they mentioned at the selectmen meeting last week that they have been in the first preliminary discussions with someone to buy the remaining pieces, but it's just so early in the stages that, they've really got nothing, nothing official to say or anything. It's just real early in the process.
It was sad to see some big trees come down. They did leave a nice little row on each side, but I've noticed that they have dug into the land pretty close to them, so they probably, they chopped off an awful lot of root with those trees. So that wasn't too swift, but
Yeah, I did
we'll see if they survive.
It is a nice looking row of trees too. I saw that real old trees. But I don't have anything new about the hospital other than that. I've got nothing new on LeBaron either. They said end of December they were supposed to know about whether they stay open or not. I haven't heard anything. I don't know if anyone else heard anything. I guess we got to do some listening for that. Yeah. Island Terrace property, I got in our open space box at Town Hall. Those maps showed up within the last couple weeks. Are not maps, but blueprints of the proposals. They mentioned, they talked a little bit about it at the last selectmen and Board of Health meetings. I haven't seen the Board of Health one. So I heard it's worth watching, so I plan on catching that. It was real brief at the selectmen meeting.
We didn't get any response from our letter, so, but I do know one thing. I just happened to speak to Nancy Yates at some point, sometime within the past month, and she was headed for the Conservation Commission meeting. And I mentioned this letter, and she said, oh, she had just talked to Zink and he didn't know anything about it. So I said, well, Nancy, I'll send you the letter. So she had it, she took it
Right.
to the Conservation Commission, but whether or not anybody moved on it or not,
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, I haven't, nothing in the box, no letter, I didn't get anything emailed to me about it, but,
It just could have been completely ignored.
right. And anything on Ocean Spray? I have not heard anything new on that property or any rumors or anything there either, so. Now, next is, anyone like to nominate Adam as an associate member of Open Space? We're full now, we have seven members, and we can make our first associate member as long as, I've never heard of having an associate before.
Oh, we have had an associate in the past.
We have in the
yeah,
past?
yeah,
So we have, would someone like to nominate Adam? He said, I talked to him and he said he'd be interested in it.
I move that we nominate Dr. Adam Young as an associate member of the Open Space Committee.
Seconds?
I second.
All right. Your votes, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Nothing heard. Congratulations.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank
We're
you.
glad to have you. Any nominations for a vice chair? Because I'm not going to be here for the first week of February, and it would be great if we had a vice chair who could just run the meeting. Anybody interested? Otherwise, we're not going to do it February, so February's on the line.
Now, what about the planning, the working meetings?
Well, I'll be here January 15th, but we don't have anything scheduled after that right now. But,
Because that's only a beginning.
right,
I'm not sure we should miss any meetings.
right. Want to be a vice chair in February?
If people would be extremely patient with me, and if somebody else will post the agenda, I'll do it.
Would you be willing to?
Would somebody be my co-chair? Just for fun.
I can still create an agenda, and as vice chair, you just run the meeting in February.
Okay, I could do that.
Anyone like to?
I'll nominate Mike.
Any seconds?
Vice chair.
I second.
Any seconds, all right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Nothing heard? Congratulations, vice chair.
This gets me out of being elected clerk.
Ulterior motives right there. I like that.
I think you can still be a clerk and a vice chair. All right, any nominations to be an official clerk? Instead of changing every month? Anybody want official?
Oh my gosh, what a popular position. I did my part, I really did. I did
Yep,
for
Mike,
about
nobody's
15
pushing
years.
it.
I
Don't
don't
worry
want
about
to do it anymore.
Anybody but the chair or vice chair can be clerk.
So I'll volunteer to help out if I can.
Oh, I love you.
That sounds great.
Is that the person takes the minutes?
That
That's
takes
yeah,
a minute.
I did okay.
Yeah. The only thing you can't do as an associate is vote, so you can still rate.
All
Yeah,
right.
thank you.
Anybody want to nominate Adam to?
I nominated Adam Young as
clerk?
to be our clerk. Now, is this, is this just like for every meeting for a while?
Until I can't take it anymore.
Yeah.
Bless you.
Any seconds?
I second the doc.
Okay, he does need to know, somebody needs to tell him about getting it into, the proper authorities after the minutes have been approved.
Yeah, we'll get that all figured out. The training part is really,
I don't know, I flunk the training every year.
all in favor? Did we have a second?
We did.
Yeah,
Any
Brian
discussion,
seconded.
we had the discussion, all right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Nothing heard, all right. Finally got this off the agenda. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
A lot of people are very happy that you're stepping in and helping out.
Does this mean we're expecting him to have taken minutes for this meeting?
No, I'm good.
You're doing it for
She'll just pass it over
Do you have
right
a
now.
laptop?
It's
Because
official.
if you type faster than you write.
See, that's what I was gonna do.
I own one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so much easier than transposing what I've written. I can't read it.
I can't type.
I can't read it my own.
I mean, I can type good, but I can't listen to people talk and just start typing.
Adam, we can switch off if you'd like.
Yeah, we'll see how this
But
does.
this was my writing.
All right.
Pretty bad.
New business, discuss the conflict of interest training requirement. Did everybody, other than Brian, get an email about this?
Yes.
I got the actual link when I went to get sworn in, so,
Oh, they gave it to you then?
yep.
December 11th is when, I was just looking at it today, I got the email that we need to do the online portion. This year, it's online for conflict of interest training. If I remember right, it's just a little hour course, state-run course. I don't know how we would work it out for you, Brian. We're probably gonna
Well,
have
I usually ask somebody to help me.
someone in at the computer
Yeah, somebody
in the town hall.
Well, I've done, various
It's right,
ways. Somebody will help me.
It's a door
Get
right
it done.
If you go in the front door. it's
So I know there's a
little bit
computer
to
right
the
next
but
to-
it's in front of you.
Town clerks.
Yeah, they've done it that way with me.
Yeah, so
I
that's
have to
probably.
give right answers.
Who'd the email come from?
It came from Jesse Berry. December 11th is when she sent it to me. So. And they were just asking if anyone could, they didn't put a date on there.
They didn't say when we had to have it done, though, because
They-
coming out on December 11, I just said, well, I'll take care of that later.
Well, I said, I wanted to get it done before today's meeting, and lo and behold, I haven't finished it either, so. They had hoped that you would do it before January, because January is a busy month, but I did not. So that's a requirement that we need to get done. Discuss any correspondence.
That might need to be on the next agenda to just remind in case anybody hadn't gotten it done yet.
Definitely. Discuss any correspondence and announcements. All I've got in the past month was that in our box. I haven't got any new emails other than the conflict of interest training. Nothing going on with any properties that's new. So, discuss any new agenda items for next month. I've got nothing new to add. Some things can come out of here.
Well, after we've had a
Progress on the
working
working
meeting, there
group,
might be
right.
something related to the
Right.
open space plan that we need to discuss.
Yeah, it might come up with something from that. Nothing right now, though. I normally send the agenda in. I try to get it in like 4 days prior now, since the one time when I didn't make that 48-hour notice. I learned my lesson with that one. And any other business that we didn't discuss today? Anybody can think of anything? All right, this was a quick meeting. So the next meeting,
Well, okay, I'm sorry. Maybe, I don't know where this ought to be mentioned, but it's just that if people have not read the open space plan before the working meeting next week, we really need to have done that.
right,
I mean, and people who have read it, probably if you read it
Skim
a
it
year
again.
ago, you should read it again.
before the meeting on the 15th. It's on the town website. Don't come to the meeting wondering and have never looked at it.
I mean, it isn't necessary, there are a lot of addendas, is that the right word?
Addendums?
Appendices that you don't really have to
Right, yeah.
read. But the part that it's the sections, like, I forget how far, I think there may be 10 sections or something like that. But it's the main part of the plan is what we're going to be revising.
So one of the issues we'll confront is the poor quality of the maps. I know we've talked about this before. Is there anything we can do to try to find a source of high
Yeah.
There is a source. Serpent has them.
Yeah,
And they,
Jed
and
Carnot.
what we have online is actually a photograph of the maps and he says that's why we have a problem, is because all we have is the photograph. Even if you have a CD, all you have is a photograph of the maps on the CD. You don't have all the digital information, but they have all the digital information so that you can enlarge it and actually read it.
Is that open information? Should I be able to access that? Is that open information? Will I be able to access that from them?
You should be able to. I mean, Serpent is, it's not proprietary. I mean, this is, they're a quasi-public organization, so.
I'll email them too.
We're going to have to get those maps.
I'll let
because-
Jed know about this meeting too. He may have some input. I know he had mentioned at a master plan meeting that he wanted to meet with us before their meeting on Saturday, and I sent him an email, but that never materialized.
Who is this?
Jed Cornock, I believe is his last name, of Serpent. If you go to the meeting on Saturday, he'll be there. So I'll be able to talk to him then too.
Just a thought about what I think we ought to do with the maps, in case I should drop dead or something before we get around to doing it. And that is that instead of trying to really print high-quality maps, which is expensive, that we have the digital maps with all the information on discs and have it as an addendum to the open space plan, so that they're not printed in the plan itself, but they are
So,
available. So
right.
maybe you might have maybe 3 maps that are more general, just to give like regional context. But they're not actually the maps that you go to for specific information. Because I know anybody who's tried to use one of the maps to try to locate a particular piece of property, you can't do it. You can't read the street names, you can't read the boundary lines.
Right.
But if the full information was on a disc, and the disc was not that expensive to copy, it doesn't seem to me that discs are that expensive
They're not
to copy.
expensive.
They could be in the library, and they could be
A
made
disc can
available.
also be like put in a sleeve in the last page of the plan, but it's just like part of the book.
Yes, exactly.
Presumably, we host this online that anyone could just access.
Yes,
right?
yes,
PDF.
absolutely.
It might not even have to be a physical book anymore.
Yeah.
It's an
They
option.
could be as part of our little spot on the town website. They could be
Right.
there, and they should be there.
Right, so the next meeting will be 7 PM on February 5th, first Wednesday of February. Right here again, Loon Pond Lodge, Ted Williams Camp. And we have a motion to adjourn. Motion to adjourn, anybody?
Motion to adjourn.
All right, second? Any second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Nothing heard? Meeting adjourned, 7:37.
Wow. Winter.